Katherine Bennell-Pegg, Australian astronaut with the Australian Space Agency, here at the Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference at the Australian Space Agency stand. Thanks for joining us on Australia in Space TV.
Oh, my pleasure. It's great to be here.
We just did a panel session with Sam Forbes of Fugro Spark. Koichi Wakata was being definitely a highlight there. I suppose, what does it feel like when you're talking to someone who's been in space 5 times, a bit of a legend, Koichi, but does that just create additional inspiration for you to get to space? You've done so much training and you've been a lifelong sort of goal. Does it make you maybe feel a step closer potentially?
Oh, absolutely. Koichi-san, he's amazing. He's been to space so many times on every human spaceflight vehicle of his era, and who knows, maybe we'll go one day again. So it's an honour to be sharing the stage with him, and also Shauna Panja, who is a commercial astronaut looking to go up very soon on Virgin Galactic to do research. So also Nicola Winter on the panel as well. So absolutely humbling to be amongst that calibre and to be discussing the future of space with them. It's amazing.
Definitely. Well, look, and I think the other two there is Japan and Canada being represented. So Australian sort of close partners. Again, how does this sort of fit with Australia, having an Australian astronaut? I think internationally now it does put the Australian Space Agency and the sector on that international stage, particularly following up from IAC in Milan.
Yeah, I think what's really exciting is that, we're going back to the moon as a team of nations with a team of astronauts, each with their own ecosystem on the ground. And we're going to be part of that we've signed the Artemis Accords, we have the rover mission, RUVA, and other Moon to Mars demonstrator missions in planning to go back there. But a huge reason for doing work in space exploration, whether it be human or robotic, is the international relationships and the opportunities that creates for our industry and our researchers. I just trained with the European Space Agency and many of their member nations, spent time in Houston, spent time with the new Japanese astronauts as well on that training, and exploring and research their endeavours that can benefit everyone on Earth, and we go further when we go together.
Alongside IPSEC is the Asia Pacific Regional Space Agency Forum. Maybe do you have a role there as well, or again that advocacy for the Australian sector and generally astronauts as well? You are unique within the ecosystem. Just generally, what would you be taking away or have your role there with APRSAF?
It's a super busy week. There's so much to do, so many amazing people to talk to. So yesterday I was at the Australian Space Education Forum, which sits alongside these events.
Great.
Today I had my first ever astronaut panel and other engagements. Tomorrow I'm emceeing at the next events, and the list goes on. I'm looking forward to being on a panel on Friday as well. And there's so much to share. There's so much all of our space agencies and our countries have been doing together. And as we look to the future of how best to utilise and explore space in a way that benefits our region, it's absolutely important that we have these in-person meetings to find out the right way forward together. And I'm really excited by what I'm seeing here and the level of ambition on display and partnership. Australia is a sought-after partner globally. We're massively punching above our weight on the world stage, and my role here is to be part of that, to help foster those conversations within our country as well as with our partners.
We last spoke in Adelaide. I saw you speak in Sydney too with a packed crowd at UTS as well. And then there was reference to other things that you've been doing. But the Australian public now are fully aware of who you are and what your role is. Maybe a wrap up for 2024 and what 2025 holds. IAC in Sydney in September next year is obviously the big one. You're going to be very busy up until then, no doubt. But maybe any highlights other than IPSEC, highlights for this year for you?
Oh, this has been incredible. Beyond completing the astronaut training and coming home in about July.
That's right.
I've been able to get out with the support of my space agency colleagues across the country to every state and territory, including many remote and regional areas, and have been just blown away by the response of the public, young and old alike, people that were interested in space before or just brought their kids along and were hearing about it for the first time. And what I saw is that Australians are fascinated by space, and we're also benefiting from space in ways that are not immediately apparent. Space is underpinning all of our daily lives. It's what makes it possible to, have people in Western Australia be police officers outside of city areas and be connected to each other. It's what we're using to connect our remote schools and to help our remote industries thrive. And it's been an absolute highlight for me to get out to all of these different events. Here, having the regional space agencies descend on Australia is amazing, because it's a taste of what's to come next year at the IAC in Sydney, where we have the world's largest space conference. There, with many more astronauts, many more engineers and scientists building on this great success. And what I'm really looking forward to as well next year is further helping our researchers in tech and in science to access microgravity and space opportunities for their work and their research, because during the astronaut training I saw so many gaps that we can play into, and because we haven't always had that door open to us before, we're not all aware of what's we can do up there. So.
Well, you mentioned the training. Nicola Winter couldn't make it here in person. She started her training just recently in Europe for the Germans. But Katherine at Bennell-Pegg, the Australian astronaut, your advocacy has been outstanding. You just mentioned from July. It feels like you've been around all year. That's how busy you have been. So it's amazing. It's only been a few short months, really. All the best for 2025, particularly IAC as well. And also we appreciate the support from the Australian Space Agency here at IPSEC. But thank you for joining us on Australia in Space TV.
Oh, thanks for having me.